Hey guys, Alice from the future here. The reason why I had to re-upload this is because there was somebody who was mentioned in the video whose name I have had to cut. This is my formal apology saying sorry to the person involved. I'm not going to mention their name because I've gotten a lot of hate and slack for it. However, I should make it clear now, do not harass anybody mentioned in any of my videos. It's my fault for not adding that at the beginning, but also don't believe what Diana says in this video. Everything she says is to be taken with a grain of salt, as she provides no evidence to back up her claims. The same can be said about myself as well. However, later today, I plan on streaming with the evidence required, and I plan on making a follow-up video with the same evidence as well. Again, I am really sorry to the person who got death threats because of this video. They shouldn't have had to deal with that. They are not in the wrong, and they were not a bad person. If you watched the original video, you likely know who I'm talking about. Again, putting it out there, I'm really sorry. That was my fault. I should have added a warning in the beginning saying do not harass anybody mentioned, because there is a chance that even if I mention them, they might be completely safe, completely innocent. Innocent until proven guilty. Now, on with the video. Hey everyone, it's Alice. I know it's been a while since the last drama video, but I've been sitting on this call for a little while now. Before we get into the actual details of said call, I need to give some context for a lot of things. Firstly, this was recorded many months ago before I changed my name to Alice. Due to that, you will hear Diana refer to me as Alex. Secondly, we talk about many different, possibly triggering topics in this video. If any of the topics on screen makes you uneasy or may provoke any trauma, it is recommended you leave the video now. With all that out of the way, let's get into this. I do want to ask you a question real quick.
Yes, you ask me.
Am I fine to record this conversation at all?
Yes.
Alright. I just wanted to ask that.
But I'm gonna ask you to if any mentions of my mentions. I would rather not the public know.
Yeah, if I do end up uploading or posting this, I will make sure to cut out any mention of that for you. One thing you've mentioned a lot is inviting me to one of the servers for further backing up. Are you able to do that for me now?
I mentioned there isn't really a Discord server. I can add you to a group chat with the two only members who still use Discord that were in that season. They can say nothing happened. I can also independently share my chat with them so you know there's nothing bad going on. So I haven't influenced anything.
Yeah. Alright.
Let me quickly send you the Discords. This is person number 1. They're not really involved in the community. They like other stuff. And this is person number 2.
Alright.
The 4th person in the SMP sadly doesn't use Discord anymore.
I do want to ask, would there be any reason for people to come out with false allegations along the lines of rape?
What happened, oh god, let me think about how to answer this question.
So right about here is where my trust in her begins to dwindle, because she blames it a lot on the things she asked me not to leave in, which in turn makes it very difficult for me to actually give you guys any reasonable defense. The way I can best get it to you is summarizing what she said without leaking what she asked not to. Basically, Diana lied about what really happened to get out of an argument. However, she pushes all the blame onto the things she asked me not to mention as a way to drop all responsibility.
The Funny Times SMP is a SMP that uses the Minecraft Comes Alive Reborn mod. That basically adds marriage, children, villagers get an overhaul. In Season 3 there were 2 members of the SMP, known as... They made up lore about an NPC having raped a character.
And you said who were the 2 people who... Diana is now giving me the names of 2 people who she claims actually did the rape roleplay she's being accused of doing. However, you would think if someone did something like this, that has made you barred from your entire community after acknowledging what it is bad, why would you go on to list them as one of your favorite friends on Discord? And this goes way as well, as despite knowing Diana accused her of this, and denying having done it at all, she's still friends with her. It feels really weird to me personally, and I've distanced myself from both of them. Catherine, okay. I don't know who
Both
the studies is.
I would still say, are amazing people.
Well, I wouldn't say role-playing rape makes anybody an amazing person.
They made up, yeah, but
you still understand how that doesn't look good, right?
Yeah.
Because even if people did know about, you know, it still doesn't really, you know, you can't just blame everything on that, because then anybody would be able to get away with anything, you know? So there is still like a level of accountability to be had.
Yes, I completely understand, but I sent you those two. If you want, I can screen share again and show every message.
It's clear, at least to me, that she's trying to change the subject because she doesn't have any way to dig herself out of that hole, trying to switch it over to the other people involved in the situation. In case it hasn't been made obvious, I don't believe anything she's saying. You guys can feel free to come to your own idea with the clips and evidence I present to you. Don't just take my word for everything.
Like the chat with the two people, you can ask them separately. They can state that on that server in that season there wasn't anything of the sort.
Well, but there was, right? Because of Catherine and the other person.
Well, that was in a later season, which was stupid of me to not go on and, as an owner, do anything about that. Personally, I just saw them having fun and I thought, cool, let them have fun.
So her argument being that she saw her friends just casually role-playing rape and decided to let them keep doing it because they looked like they were having fun. It's a very stupid argument to me, and I can't see in any world where any of my friends are role-playing rape and I, as a server owner or as a player, allow it to happen, especially considering I'm a fucking victim. Like, that shit's not cool. Rape isn't something to enjoy or have fun with. It's a level 3 felony, not some kink on a children's server, where children play with other adults in the server. That's so okay.
That sounds horrible, but like,
yeah, it really does, especially to a victim like myself. You can see why that sounds really bad.
So basically, like, there is no, like, it's literally what they made up. That's the word. They married two villagers. One of them was canonically a child and the other one wasn't.
Now it's pedophilia. It only gets fucking worse. Again, just like rape, pedophilia isn't a kink.
And what happened was they had children, which I would go on and... This
is getting worse progressively. You're telling me...
Yes, I completely understand.
There was pedophilia now as well.
But like, at that point, I was not involved in that whole lore. I can go on and give you a member list of season 3 if you want to talk to them about it.
Personally, I'm a little interested in talking to Catherine, who you say had their own set of roleplay lore, because I know they're, I guess, somewhat known in the community. I know a lot of people who are in off-brand know them very well.
I can give you 2 more people who both are independent to Catherine, so I can also tell you my side, so you have multiple sides of the story.
Yeah, I've been collecting multiple sides. I personally am a little confused why somebody like Snow would turn on you if they were like such a close friend. I'm a little confused on that.
Like from what I am seeing currently is I was having a go at Aqua and Snowbird was genuinely pissed at that. I was being a dick in that situation, and basically I feel like they heard about a lot of stories about the previous incident, and for some reason there's also now rumors about me mass reporting bootleggers, which I don't know where that came from.
I do, because I was in bootleg when that came up. Apparently around the time that you started getting like timed out and, you know, just sort of being bullied in the public bootleg server, somehow mysteriously a lot of the bootleggers accounts got really mass report, including Doom's for whatever reason. And one thing we noticed all of them had in common was they sent a message to the public bootleg server that could be seen as kind of controversial. So I don't really know why she bothered to bring this up. Again, it feels like she's deflecting so she can think up more about her lie. Another thing, she said before we called that she had to mentally prepare, which to me feels again like she's trying to buy time to come up with a story in the little time I gave her, in which it's clear she didn't think hard enough. I'm gonna skip over most of the bootlegs shit, but basic rundown, she declines having been the one who reported the bootleggers. However, every bootlegger that got reported are ones who responded to her question in the public server with something semi-controversial. And it wasn't very long after they did that they all got reported, which is why everyone believes it was Diana. Her reasoning for not reporting them is, why would I do that when I'm trying to get into the community again? Which is the same thing John Swan said when he was explaining why he wasn't the dream account that said the N-word, in which it turned out that he was the dream account that said the N-word. And Diana would then proceed to start talking about series they cancelled, which confused me a lot. Okay, I wanna point something out, and it was something I was gonna point out after I mentioned life cycle, is that it is starting to seem like you're trying to turn the conversation elsewhere.
Yeah, no, I'm not oh yeah, I wasn't really trying, it just happens sometimes.
You said was one of the people who was interacting with it, with Catherine on the thing?
Yes, but like, if I'm correct, those two made up the whole lore, and like, if I would get into reasons why Catherine isn't allowed to play on that server anymore, we would be sitting here for a couple hours.
Again, and I mentioned this earlier, it's really weird that a bunch of people who used to align with you and talk to you and, just be friends with you, all of a sudden turn against you and hate you.
Snow, in our final conversation, told me they heard some things about Maya, which makes me think they were distancing themselves from me and just waiting for an opportunity to get me gone.
So, okay, here's the thing. I want to tell you, I reached out to Snow the 17th, and what he told me has been almost a completely different story from what you've been telling me. So, first off, there's apparently a group chat regrouping most of the convo that was deleted by you, supposedly.
I did not delete anything.
And apparently there was another server where you were trying to defend yourself poorly, where your response to the rape things was, what do you expect teenagers to do? And Snow says multiple people can attest to this, being Aqua, Delayed, whoever the hell Rot is, as well as Catherine, Froggo, Rory, and apparently Froggo has a specific screenshot, so like a lot of this does kind of seem to be very against you. Obviously, I would understand if you're lying to try to save face, but the best time to come out about it would be sooner rather than later, because obviously if a bunch of proof comes out that's undeniable that you did do something after you lying to a bunch of people about it, it's only going to make the people you lied to hate you more than they would if you just tell them the truth, which is why I just want to get this out here now so that you know what is like allegedly on the table.
Do you still want to see the chats with the people I had?
The current story is Snowmai wanted Diana gone from the community and wanted distance from her. So when he heard this story, jumped at the chance to get her banned, and that's why he's doing this. And to save herself, she decided to lie about her doing rape/pedophilia roleplay on a Minecraft SMP to make things a little calmer, when in actuality it was two other people on the server doing it, which she allowed to happen because they looked like they were having fun. And then, when I'm trying to tell her if she's lying she'll be dragged through the mud, she changes the subject back to the messages? Is it insane for me to think she's crazy or to think that she's lying to me? Her entire story sounds like a fever dream, like something I'd see of Scott Pilgrim. It's genuinely insane to me. Now, on the accuser's side, back when I first started this conversation, I asked Snow, "Hey Snow, I wanted to reach out because I was told you knew a bit more about the Diana shit. If you don't want to talk about it, that's fine, but I just wanted to know the full story, because Diana says things were a joke and not something that actually happened, and I just want the other side, and wondering if there's any proof to the claims Aqua made." In response, Snow told me, "She's lying. She admitted to it. If you need specific evidence, there is a group chat regrouping most of the convo that was deleted by Diana, and so were another server that talked about it, with her defending herself poorly. And I quote, 'What do you expect teenagers to do?' Multiple people can attest to this happening. I was in VC with Aqua, Delayed, and Rot when it happened, and the group chat also had Catherine, Frago, Rory, and Aqua as witnesses. Snow's messages and accusations are a lot more put together, not as many holes in the story. It all makes sense when put together. Diana's story sounds like she's coming up with it as we're going on. I can't in good faith believe anything she's saying, with her constant changing of the goalpost and story. I'm gonna be real, we talked a lot longer on the subject, but none of it's really worth going over. We just went back and forth on the same shit. Eventually it's revealed she herself had a scrapped rape storyline during her divorce arc in season 3, which she refuses to back down on being bad for. So, with that, is the defense of Diana for the Minecraft rape allegations. However, these aren't the only things Diana did. They go on to show an image of Snow stating, "You harassing someone, spam reporting bootleggers, and role-playing/enabling rape." Harassing someone obviously being the Colin thing. So, I'm unaware on how public this situation is, and I did reach out to Colin before making this video to ask if he's fine with me leaving this in, to which he confirmed. Back when Off-Brand was around, Diana was somewhat liked in the community. She had her own series that a lot of off-branders participated in, as well as a few series that her and I co-ran together. All of that ended, however, when she went into Colin's DMs and asked him out. Normally, that wouldn't be bad, just simply regret her and move on. But she decided she was going to go on and make messages, acting like she was going to force him to be poly, so that he'll date her as well as his partner. After that was Diana's first exile from the community. She would later on go to make an alt account and message multiple people, acting as a friend of Diana's, being a huge fan of all these people, myself included. It was very obvious to everybody it was her. I talked with Waffle about it, and he basically confirmed my belief that it was her. She would constantly talk to me about how Diana's so depressed that everyone left her, essentially guilt-tripping me into unblocking and refriending Diana, which unfortunately worked. This isn't like, and I'm gonna bring these up because I'm gonna bring up that message that you sent a while back, but this isn't like Jake the Master saying $15 for a data pack. This isn't like Eclipse is, but if you understand that, you came to me with a message asking me to help you get out of this. The quote, "Alex, I made a huge mistake. Can we call about it as soon as possible? Like, can you get me out of this or like, nah?"
But like, I partially also didn't speak up about it because other people weren't speaking up about it, so I thought it was okay. Which is the classic case of, oh no, let me quickly translate this word.
The thing is, right, I feel like should just be common sense, but the mass isn't always right. There's a whole
I was just a follower of the mass.
But sometimes it's better to be okay, this is gonna sound really bad, but sometimes it's better to be a minority.
Yeah, I didn't realize it.
The way I have always seen it, you stand up for your own morals. If maybe at some point you realize your own morals are wrong, or you are shown a different light, you see, oh hey, this is wrong. I had my own morale switch. I thought legal meant moral. I found out in some situations that's not quite right, like age of consent and dating somebody. It's not always moral, even if it's legally allowed. And in this situation, sure, I brought up like legality, sure, role-playing rape and pedophilia, there is no law against that, but morally, that is fucked. It is a terrible thing to do, and you should always stand up for your own morals, whether other people around you agree with it or not. The only time you back down is when you are shown, hey, maybe these morals aren't the best morals. Maybe I should change my life view around a little bit. But from what it sounds like, you saw a bunch of people just decide that role-playing rape was like a funny cool thing to do and assumed, alright, all these people think rape and pedophilia is funny, so there's nothing wrong with it. But when you really empathize with victims or become one yourself, you see that it really isn't that funny. It's not a quirky thing. And I understand that's not how you feel. You don't think it's like a good, funny thing to do. You've said that. I hear that. I understand that. But your actions have spoken in a different tone than what you speak to me now. That is where I'm ending the Diana rape roleplay stuff. She doesn't bother to defend or run back anything I say to her. She just responds with, So it's clear to me she has nothing. However, that isn't where the story ends. I have my own experiences with Diana, as well as the ability of knowing more than I did then. Firstly, if you paid close attention to the messages between me and Snow, you may have noticed I mentioned Diana tried for weeks to matchmake me and Snow together, which is really ironic in retrospect, considering we are now the two people actively taking her down from the community. The reason I bring this up is because on multiple occasions, I explicitly tell her I'm uncomfortable with a minor playing Cupid with me, especially with someone who at the time I'd never even heard before. But she kept persisting until eventually I lashed out and told her off, in which she says it was all just a joke. It was not a joke. I would talk with Snow many months later about the subject, in which she recalls that around the time she said that to me, she went into Snow's DMs asking of his sexuality, so clearly there were attempts made, which pisses me off. I don't know if she hadn't learned jack shit from the call-in situation, or if she thought that playing with people's love life would work this time. Whatever reason she had, it only made me and eventually Snow very uncomfortable having trusted them in the first place. Next. We ended the call by me telling them to stay off the internet for a bit, get some therapy to sort out any issues she may have had by being barred from the community twice now, and not to work on any projects until she's perfectly ready. She then invited me to 4 different series ideas and asked me to co-own 3 of them with her. So it's clear to me, at least, that she really just doesn't care about any of the advice I was giving her, nor does she care about any of the shit she was in. She thinks she can just wait a while, then come back to the community without repercussions, which has happened in this community on numerous occasions. And it disappoints me that some servers, even when brought forth this evidence, still refuse to remove her from their space. Hopefully, with this video, it can get people to act up against this and have it removed from spaces to make them a little more safe. Yeah, that's basically it. See ya.